I look to my right, shitty dad. I look to my left, shitty dad. These deadbeats stink of poo. Hunter x Hunter chapter 4:15, quick thoughts. We learned so much awful stuff this chapter, but I can't stop cracking up over the fact Togashi chose this specific moment to emphasize just how built Furukawa is. My man is having the worst day of his life, getting gaslit by his biological father and finding out he's a bomb, which could be aimed at the person he respects most in the entire world. And Togashi decided, you know what's critical to that scene? Seeing Furukawa in his boxer briefs. In world, it completely makes sense for a character to be wearing comfortable casual clothes in their own room. Of course, he's in his PJs out of world. Because this is a manga, anytime an artist draws a character in an outfit that's not their usual outfit, it's an active choice. So yes, Furukawa thigh fan service was a choice Togashi made, and it's so funny to me because this conversation with Beyond in contrast is horrible. It's so bad. I can't believe we found a father worse than Jang freaks, and it's not even a contest. This is psychological abuse, so I suppose content warning for bad parenting. So if you'd like to skip this topic, feel free to drag on the time bar below to skip to our general discussion for this week. My first major takeaway from this chapter: Beyond lies. I don't know if I would quite classify him as a compulsive liar, but very clearly he has no qualms whatsoever about lying even to his own children. He feels no guilt over doing so, and it's frankly eerie how smoothly he tells blatant falsehoods, mixing them with truth. The way he interacts with Furukawa is highly manipulative on top of that. Furukawa calls him, and instantly the first words out of Beyond's mouth are weaponizing Furukawa's loyalty to Benjamin against him. That's crazy. Not even a "hi son, hope you're doing well," not even a "hey, how's it going?" No, it's "yeah, I cursed you. For Benjamin's sake though, so you should be grateful." The way Furukawa immediately calls him out for lying, and Beyond doesn't apologize for it, doesn't even try to deny it, indicates to me this is not a one-time thing. To Furukawa, Beyond is always like this, a lying, manipulative asshole. And I was just sitting there with these panels kind of thinking, do you know how bad a father has to be for a child to say something like, "I have no family, Prince Benjamin is my family"? That's a level further than "my deadbeat dad sucks" or "my dad is an awful person." Children put up with a lot before they hit that breaking point because a kid only has one dad. It's not an absentee situation like Jing, or a situation where Furukawa didn't know he had a live biological family, like he's not an orphan. So it's not so easy to know that you do have a dad and make the choice to excommunicate him, to decide you would rather have no dad at all than have Beyond Netero as your father. In my eyes, this interaction between Furukawa and Beyond indicates Beyond is the type of person his kids find difficult or downright impossible to have any sort of relationship with, let alone a healthy one. This impression supported every time Beyond opens his mouth in the scene. When he goes on to say, if Furukawa dies, the curse will take out one of Benjamin's opponents and simultaneously gift Benjamin Full Metal Alchemist, which firstly is absolutely Beyond purposefully phrasing it as if gifting Ben Furukawa's ability is one of the boons of the curse, when no, it's Benjamin's own ability, Benjamin Baton, that does that is standard manipulative scum phrasing. By bringing it up now in his argument that the curse is a good thing, he's effectively trying to claim credit in a way by associating that effect of Benjamin's ability with his own curse. It's so scummy. Secondly, Beyond does not consider the loss of Furukawa's life at all. The curse is not phrased as a contingency or last resort, but more that Beyond fully expects Furikov to die and even encourages it. And thirdly, in hindsight, we know that Beyond's lying out his ass here because Furikov's curse target is Prince Benjamin himself. So no, this curse is not beneficial to Furikov or Ben at all. There are no benefits to this for them. And later when Furikov figures out his curse target might actually be Benjamin, Beyond doesn't apologize for lying. He doesn't feel bad about it. He just continues on spewing manipulative bullshit, talking about I'll excuse your behavior due to our bond as parent and child. What bond as parent and child? The atomic bond you're about to split when you detonate your own son like a hydrogen bomb? And he just keeps going. He doesn't stop. It's like every single line. There's Beyond continually guilt-tripping Furikov for not trusting his words, talking about, oh, but I know you don't trust me, so fact check with your ability, with this kind of implication that, oh, I'm so hurt that you don't trust your own dad, as if he's somehow the victim in the situation after putting a death curse on his own kid. There's Beyond throwing his leverage with the King of Kakin in Furikov's face to make him feel small as just a soldier by emphasizing Beyond's own status as a VVIP in the nation, which is textbook power imbalance intimidation. There's Beyond not knowing how old his own kid is, only knowing Furikov's in the ballpark of his 20s, give or take, I don't know, a decade, and it probably is at least a decade off if Benjamin's over 30 years old. There's Beyond instantly aiming low to hit Furikov right where he knows it'll hurt by attributing Furikov cursing him out his momentary lapse of composure with some sort of weakness in the strength of Benjamin's troops, implying Benjamin's men might not be perfectly loyal, thereby implying Benjamin himself might not be perfect. Then immediately flipping the script by saying, oh, but I do like Benny Boy a bit since he didn't participate in the carnivals. No more talking, kitten. Daddy's got other kids to rage bait, toodles, before hanging up. Furikov's stronger than me because saying I would have lost it is putting it lightly. This is why you don't fuck with people who lie. Once you realize it's a habit they have, you realize that you have to go back and re-examine every past interaction you've had with them and every single thing that they've ever said. Which, of course, I will do in my own time to reframe some of my reads on Beyond's character with this new information. One example from this chapter, though, to kind of show what I'm talking about, at the end, Beyond says he respects Benjamin and the Marshmallow Men for not participating in the carnivals. With the information that Beyond is someone who has a habit of mixing truth with lies, the only aspect I'll be taking as truth from this statement is that Ben and the boys didn't participate in the carnivals, but I won't believe without proof that Beyond respects Benjamin, and I certainly won't believe Beyond himself disapproves of the carnivals, especially since his creation of the cursed babies and the way he speaks to Furikov in this chapter gives me no indication he places any value on the inherent sanctity of life. Actually, I'm not even sure if I want to buy into Beyond's implication here that Benjamin is alone in abstaining from carnivals. Are all of the older princes genuinely complicit? I don't know. So that's perhaps something that we could be thinking about as well. Regardless, if it wasn't obvious, my opinion of Beyond has drastically dropped after the revelations of this chapter. I kind of dislike him, though that's as a person. I dislike Beyond more as a person, not as a character. As a character, no, these reveals have only made him dramatically more dangerous and conniving and interesting. If he can lie, if he can act without any guilt about it whatsoever, he can manipulate people to do anything, to think of him in any way. Which means who knows if Bill's read on his character is actually accurate, or if Beyond just put on that playful childish persona to mimic Chairman Netero's charisma, as that could and has swayed people like certain zodiacs to his side. Just who is Beyond Netero actually? What set of values lie at the heart of that dark entangled mass? I look forward to finding out. Other notes from this chapter: shout out to the people who guessed Firkov knew about his curse due to Full Metal Alchemist. The curse is being confirmed as a Nen ability, has interesting implications for Beyond's character, as Nen abilities reflect their users' values. Though I think this chapter confirms Firkov wasn't 100% sure Ben was his target after all, since Beyond didn't tell him. Firkov just couldn't take the risk that it could have been Ben, which it just makes the entire situation more tragic. There's some stuff going on with the curse babies this chapter, as in ages, and the implication the curse set in as soon as the princes participated in the ceremony, which makes it possible again that the Cradle Aura might not have been the Beyond curse activating after all, which brings us back to square one on that mystery. And that made me question just who between Wobble, Phobal, and Oito have curse babies. So here's a chart about that, but I'm gonna wait a little bit and see if we get any more information, because Beyond could be lying to Firkov about when and how the curse is set in, as he's actively manipulating Firkov in the scene. There could be additional curse setting in conditions he neglected to mention as well. Like maybe the curse baby needs to spend a certain amount of time in the target's radius for it to lock in, and maybe that didn't happen until Phobal was on the boat. Things like that. I'll leave it here for now, though I did think up a way both Phobal and Wobble could be cursed with only 3 babies in the arc, using a sort of Nen curse daisy chaining method, which is low-key horrible, so there's that idea. If curse babies themselves can be cursed, then that could be 3 babies with 1 stone. It seems Togashi is combining the post office plot point with the drone shipping lane plot point, and all I can say about that is thank goodness. The sheer breath of relief I let out at that realization. 414 had me stressing that there were now 2 separate open doors to the mainland in the plot, through which literally anyone/anything could come through, but having the Yamato postcard plotline actually be the payoff for the shipping drone plot point is a godsend, because now if all goes well, that could mean no new third-party characters/factions will be added to the plot until at least the boat's first stop. If the delivery from the mainland is just some Shikishi autograph boards and a postcard back from Oito's sister, we'll be a-okay. Seeing Kanji doll banged up was super funny too. It's a much needed comedic relief. Seems like his flow just wasn't up to snuff. Is this the first time we've seen Bobby Mina drawn with under-eye wrinkles? At the end of the chapter, I don't know guys, he looks a little bit stressed. We're probably on the verge of getting more Bobby Mina characterization as well. Okay, so that's the end of my chapter notes. I thought we were getting thrown into the deep fryer this week, so I've saved some space to yap, but since this was ostensibly another rising action chapter, let's make our discussion this video a quick state of the board. I want to do some quick prince predictions. Here's what the current chart looks like for the Succession War, with 3 princes dead. That's Momose, Sali, and Kacho, and Halkenberg's body is also dead, but his soul is still fighting on, so he's not out of the competition yet. Going forward, there are 3 princes that I don't trust, and I think we should keep an eye on, and they are Zhonglei, Tyson, and Halkenberg. While yes, we pray for Cyrenix's downfall, he's so far along the slide of evil that he's barely conceivable to the average person. Cyrenix is so evil, my mind can hardly grasp the concept of just how evil he is. He almost doesn't feel tangible. Zong, Tyson, and Halkenberg though, no, those perversions of power are very present in reality. As I interpret the older princes to embody systems of power/governing, the form that third prince Zhonglei's spirit beast took instantly gave me pause. This fusion of divine imagery, this fiery wheel with the depiction of money and an undisclosed power revolving around the passing along of coins, tokens with some fluctuating value. I would not be surprised at all if Zhonglei's storyline is a critique of capitalism and the selfishness and greed which the late stages of the system incentivize, turning individual against individual as they vie for the arbitrary favor of this false idol which conflates currency with divinity. Tyson, I feel, is self-explanatory. The psychological manipulation and love bombing tactics employed in cult onboarding processes target vulnerable people, forcing onto them specific sets of ideals with little room for individuality. Cults are famously intolerant of differences, and unfortunately in real life that manifests as extreme bigotry toward individuals of genders, races, and socioeconomic backgrounds outside of their narrow, accepted norms. It is in no small part amusing to me Tyson's text is called the Book of Tyson, as the scripture of the largest, quotation marks, organized religion in the United States is colloquially known as something very similar. And living in a state/area dominated by that organized religion as someone who does not fit into that narrow cookie-cutter mold is not an experience that I would recommend. We have not yet seen the punishment outlined in Tyson's book, but I'd conjecture it's something along the lines of a social death. Think devaluing, think the bullying tactic of laying funeral flowers for a live person, and think emotional withdrawal, resulting in heavy psychological damage. The cult of Tyson preaches love, but that love is not unconditional. Considering her followers are forced to relinquish their entire identities to join, their values, their backgrounds, their personalities, their freedom of thought, I'd say the conditions are myriad indeed. Not a day goes by where I don't think about how one of the first facts we learn about Ninth Prince Halkenberg is that he gets along well with Saridnik. You know, the famously benign and kind Saridnik. And it's not as if Sari is known for trying to hide his nature either. It's not like he's particularly trying to butter Halkenberg up. No matter what the normies say, I'm just not convinced Mr. I can excuse Saridnik's human skin Birkin collection, but I draw the line at women is the pure-hearted reformist his campaign persona makes him out to be. That's a joke. That's a joke. I don't necessarily think that it's confirmed Halkenberg knows that Saridnik has a human flesh museum. The point is, I think Halkenberg getting along with Saridnik is immediately a very obvious red flag. The creepy expression Halkenberg makes upon resolving to begin fighting in the Succession War. This man rubs me the wrong way. I'm feeling corruption arc for Halkenberg, except maybe it's less corruption and more what was always lurking beneath coming up to the surface. Something about him is just not right. Halkenberg's Nen ability can definitely be read as wolf in sheep's clothing symbolism, now that Togashi is removing the training wheels by no longer showing us where Halkenberg goes with each trade. The death of his physical body perhaps even indicating the shedding of his benevolent persona or skin, the wool coming off, so to say, to reveal the darkness of the soul beneath. So yes, I don't like Zong, Tyson, or Halkenberg as people, and I think it's dangerous to trust them. As characters, though, they're great. Zhonglei especially has a lot of promise as an antagonist, and I can't wait to see what Halkenberg gets up to as he runs wild among us. Among the cast. I guess let's do some quick death predictions before bodies start hitting the fan. These are just my preferences. Red means the princes are already canonically dead. Blue means I think they will die before the game is over/ended. And purple is a special ending I have reserved for a certain kind of evil. This is just kind of off the top of my head, but I do like this end distribution of surviving princes because it leaves one higher ranking prince, one mid-ranking prince, and one lower ranking prince alive. It's also a relatively even spread of moralities, leaving alive Zong, whose morals are probably not great, Subeppa, who I see as relatively morally neutral, and Fugetsu, who obviously can do no wrong ever. Oito's an outlier in this because if she's a prince, she's a special case. After all, she does have the best guardian spirit beast of them all, Kurapika, on her side, and King Nasabi dying would definitely symbolize the end of the old regime and a step taken toward a new future for Kakin. Even in the worst case scenario where Tserednik wins by killing everyone, he's definitely not leaving Nasabi alive, so I think Nasabi's pretty much cooked in every timeline. As for the others, Togashi dropping the fact Benjamin doesn't participate in the carnivals like 2 chapters before sacking him off. Yeah, he definitely goes to the school of, hey, I can make this hurt more, actually, character writing. That was frankly uncalled for. Knowing that concretely just makes what's coming even more brutal. That's not to say Benjamin's a good person. No, he's got his flaws for sure. But when we're left stuck with John, Bitcoin, and Horror Hoagie over here, we're gonna miss him. Hopefully he has a good final showing. I definitely want to see him fight some people. Maybe he can take out Camilla with him. I'll talk about both their characterizations more in depth in whichever week Ben dies in, but Benjamin and Camilla reflect the pitfalls of traditional masculinity and traditional femininity, respectively, and recently we've been seeing that Ben does have some of the more positive traits of the beliefs he represents, no small amount of nobility, bravery, and a paternal streak when it comes to his soldiers, so I'm curious if we'll see some of Camilla's positive traits in upcoming chapters as well. When it comes to test tubes here, unfortunately I'm weak for a woman in a crisply ironed lab coat. If Subeppa turns out to be a relatively good person at heart, she might just become one of my favorite princes. Her character contrast is 7th Prince Luzurus, and that's shown off very well here in 415 with Luzurus, who is more street smart, immediately booking it out of town as soon as he clocks martial law is imminent, whereas Subeppa, who is more academically intelligent, more book smart, has also known the entire time Ben would try to pull special martial law, but her response in contrast is to calmly cooperate and go to room 1001 and hear out what Benjamin is going to say. These are 2 completely different types of people and 2 completely different responses to the same situation, which is super fun. I actually do like Luzurus a lot as well. He's a really smart guy, and from the beginning, from the Public Prince send-off in 358, you could immediately clock that aspect of Luzurus's personality. I really do think so. The other princes are on stage smiling and waving for the crowd, playing into the king's propaganda, thinking about winning the succession contest, and here Luzurus is with a frown on his face, indicating to me he has no delusions about what's coming. Not once has Luzurus talked about winning the succession contest. He's here on the boat because he has to be here. You can't get much realer than someone who doesn't humor a letter from presumably his dead little sister when he knows it's a form of manipulation. Luzurus has a good brain in that noggin, and he doesn't sugarcoat things, not even for kids. He doesn't put on a fake face. He sees things as they are, and he says things as they are, and yeah, I'll put some respect on his name for that, especially in the sea of people trying to manipulate each other psychologically. I find it really telling that Luzurus got along with Basho so well, yet when special martial law came, Luzurus left alone with just one of his other guards, one he knew the loyalties of better, because yes, Basho is great and we love his questionable poetry, but that's because we've known Basho for a long time. Luzurus just met the guy a couple days ago. Obviously he wouldn't trust him completely yet, and it totally makes sense. That's caution and intelligence showing. Luzurus is kind of giving me death flags, but I hope he gets to shoot someone at least first with a gun, and his guardian spirit beast as well. Leopard geckos are awesome. Let's see that puppy in action. One trait of leopard geckos is that they can drop their tails to distract predators as they get away, so potentially some kind of fake out death for Luzurus is possible as well. How ironic would it be if in the end Beyond only activates one curse baby and it's Halkenberg's? I've been thinking about the curse babies again and which one it'd be most fun for Beyond to trigger, and I think Hulk might just be my favorite pick, not only because his Nen ability is difficult to deal with normally, especially with his intelligence on top of that, but it'd also be karmic for Unma's collaboration with Beyond to come back and bite her in the ankle. She accepted this devil's help in killing her son Benjamin in favor of helping Halkenberg. Would it not be really satisfying for that bargain to come with a punishment? She saw no problem in threatening a curse baby to kill Ben, and in the end, ironically, it's a curse baby who kills Halkenberg. If it wasn't confirmed this chapter Furikov's target is one of the 8 older princes, I would have even posed that his target could be Halkenberg for maximum monkey pawing. As is, the only unassigned curse baby we know of at the moment who I think could be Halkenberg's curse baby is Long He. Now, as I posed last week, personally, I would prefer it if Long He's target was Queen Oito, because that would complicate Kurapika's situation more, since right now Long He and Kurapika are allies, and Long He's goal is to kill Beyond's prince child. If Oito is one of Beyond's prince children, that could get messy in a fun way. Making Long He's target not someone she wants to kill would also be good if the takeaway Togashi wants to explore with Long He's character arc is something similar to Hild's arc from Vinland Saga. Not the forgiveness aspect, but more the living on aspect. Sacrificing her own life to get back at Beyond by killing another would not be necessarily winning against him. Rather, that feels like playing into his hands, perpetuating the cycle of hatred. For Long He to triumph over Beyond and her past, that might look more like overcoming the hatred he imbued in her and choosing to live on, not letting a manipulative parent define her future. Though if Long He is valid as Oito's curse baby because they're around the same age, that would mean she is certainly valid to potentially be Halkenberg's curse baby instead, since Oito and Halk would have to be around the same age if they were baby swapped. And I really would not mind if in trying to kill Saraynik, Long He took out Halkenberg if she does have to die. Fugetsu. To me, Fugetsu is safe. Not only would it be a little too predictable to kill off all the younger princes, but thematically, Fugetsu surviving is more powerful than her dying. And by that I mean, I don't think Fugetsu is cursed at all right now at this point in time. 414 seems to imply the sting mark on Fugetsu's back was from the Marshmallow Man Yushohi's Stinger Ball ability, which is not a cursing ability, making the bug bite, quotation marks, unrelated to Fugetsu's current state. I will say the official translation definitely tripped me up a little on this one because it translates who Yushohi targeted with Stinger Ball as queen, whereas the Japanese text says princess. Saying Yushohi stung a queen versus saying Yushohi stung a female prince are two very different things. Due to fan consensus, I'll make the call that princess is likely more accurate to the original Japanese, and the intended implication of that sentence is Yushohi stung a female prince. My current take on the Fugetsu situation is there is no one cursing Fugetsu apart from herself. In other words, the culprit is grief. Kacho and Fugetsu were incredibly codependent, and it should come as no shock that Fugetsu is taking Kacho's death very poorly. Interestingly, although Fugetsu's use of Magic Worm's tunneling ability was limited to once per day before Kacho's death, now she can activate the ability multiple times a day. As guardian spirit beasts are parasitic and perform their actions by draining the host's aura, I believe this is the explanation between Fugetsu's physical condition. Without Kacho, she's lost her water wings, her safety net, which has incentivized Fugetsu to learn how to swim with the risk of pushing herself too hard and drowning. The idea that just like Nen abilities, Guardian Spirit Beast abilities can evolve over time would definitely make sense, but it's also terrifying because no, Saraynik's beast does not need to get any more freaky. It is freaky enough as is, I promise. Point is, Fugetsu is currently undergoing character development not only as a spirit beast host, but also as an individual. with the individual underlined. She's learning to live without being a part of a pair, and although it definitely makes sense for her to burn herself out and succumb, I think it'd be more powerful to see her slowly improve again and grow into someone who can stand on her own 2 feet. For that reason, I'm cheering Fugetsu on to live. And also there's the whole Justice Bureau Kaiser plotline with Fugetsu where he wants to use her and Melody's powers for something, so Fugetsu is probably at least safe until that is paid off. 13th Prince Yami. I call him that, by the way, because Miriam sounds too close to Meruem, and I can't be thinking about I see now, this is why I was born, for this moment. Every time I say his name or I'll crash out. Also Yami, Hammy, Hamster Boy. It works, it works. Yeah, Yami's dead. Not only would his death be karmic punishment for Queen Savanti for basically killing Momose by stripping her of all her protection and leaving her daughter, who was still a minor and still a child who was depending on her, in that den of snakes, but also Yami's guardian spirit beast power is the equivalent of a reverse locked room puzzle, and I kind of want to see who manages to solve the puzzle and get inside and kill Yami. It sounds like a fun Nen riddle setup. Those are my current thoughts on the prince situation. If I had to leave one more prince alive, I'd pick Tyson, with the caveat that she'll have to suffer an extreme ego death first, including perhaps the loss of her physical beauty, perhaps suffering some sort of Nen mutation / transformation similar to what Melody went through, though Melody is a cutie and I'd want Tyson to look worse, like some sort of blob monster. And if we can pick one more prince beyond that, definitely Lucerus. I honestly hope he does survive, though I don't know how likely that is. So my top 3 picks for surviving princes is Zong, Tsubepa, and Fugetsu, with Tyson and Lucerus as 4th and 5th picks respectively, and Sarainik being a special case. That's a prediction for another day, but for now I'll leave it as death is too good for someone like Sarainik. Those are just my opinions, of course, based on what we know so far as of chapter 415. I'd love to talk death predictions for the other factions in the arc, like the spiders at some point as well in the future, if that sounds interesting to anyone. But fantastic chapter, with some much needed characterization for the arc's major antagonist. Going forward, I'm ready to start taking a look at the game board outside the game board, at the motives of the larger pieces at play on the Black Whale. Beyond, Jing, Pariston, Steiner's faction, Kaiser, and the Justice Bureau, the Spiders, Hisoka, the 3 Mafia families, etc. Just what do all these powers want, and how will that affect the remainder of the voyage? To kick off that train of thought, I'll leave you with a question. What do you think Beyond was dissatisfied about with his first Dark Continent expedition? As in, if he had the chance to go again, which he is going again now, what would he improve? Feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments below. Here are 3 of mine. 1. Perhaps Beyond was dissatisfied with his personal level of power. This could mean his goal with the voyage is something to boost his own personal Nen abilities, potentially along the lines of juicing the entire ship, all of the people on it, including the hundreds of normies, in some sort of Nen power exchange to give himself a boost. Second idea, perhaps he was dissatisfied at not having any strong expedition competitors. This could mean he's bringing along his expedition team, Jing, and other strong Nen users so they can start competing once they land on the Dark Continent itself. This could also mean Beyond's using the worm toxin ceremony not to support the new king of Kakin and the nation itself, but instead he's using it to cook himself up a new strong opponent in his very own child. Effectively turning the Dark Continent expedition into a super cute and definitely not disturbing at all father-son bonding camping trip between Beyond and Sarainik. Third guess, perhaps Beyond felt insulted by the powers that be on the Dark Continent, such as the Gatekeeper's Guide who forced him to take a calamity back on his return trip. This could mean Beyond feels his pride was smeared by the Dark Continent itself and has devised a return play, potentially colonization. As in, by supporting Kakin's voyage, Beyond is bringing a calamity from the known world, humankind, parentheses, nation, to battle against the calamities native to the Dark Continent. Calamity death battle style. After all, human, parentheses, nation, is rated an overall A- to B+ on the calamity danger scale, which is actually higher in danger than some Dark Continent calamities like Brian and the Chimera ants. When Netero said the Dark Continent was a battle against Mother Nature, what if that's the next opponent Beyond has chosen for himself? As in, the next woman Beyond wants to dominate is Mother Nature herself, which is, something. But hey, if that's the case, maybe there is some hope for the lower tiers of the ship after all, because that means Beyond won't contribute to whatever's gonna cause the boat to sink. It means Beyond will actually want to take all the normies, all these people in the lower tiers, to the Dark Continent, and he will do his best to ensure, in the meantime, that at least the majority of them makes it. Whatever Beyond's plan with the boat is will become very important in the arc going forward, and I'm pretty curious if we have the clues necessary to guess it at this point in time. But yes, that'll be it for this week. Thank you for watching. I will see you next chapter.